Let me tell you about a trip to Japan that went so wrong that I started to wonder if I was cursed. I've been to Japan many times for different reasons. I know the language, I'm familiar with the places I usually visit, and I've picked up plenty of travel tips over the years. So naturally, I thought I had everything under control. I mean, what could go wrong? Turns out a lot. Sometimes things just spiral out of control, no matter how prepared you are. So here I am, sharing with you the 9 disasters that unfolded during what was supposed to be just another visit to Japan. You can later decide which disaster was the worst in the comments. And why do I have reasons to believe that it was a curse? I'll tell you about it at the end of the video. Let's dive in! My struggles started even before I landed in Japan. This trip was during a time when the JR Pass was an affordable option for traveling in Japan. Unfortunately, there was no digital version of the pass, so I had to get a physical voucher while I was in my country, and then it could be exchanged for a pass when I arrived in Tokyo. My gut told me something would go wrong, so I ordered the voucher about a month before my trip. All my previous passes took about 3 to 5 days to deliver, so I expected the same in this case. I got stressed when my delivery tracking showed me that my pass had been stuck somewhere in Paris for 2 weeks. The worst part wasn't just this. Neither the delivery nor the company that sent me the JR Pass were replying to my messages and emails. I was worried that I got scammed. Luckily, I never give up easily, and I went on a quest to find a delivery company office in my city. Google search didn't help, because all phone numbers didn't answer. So I just went to a random address assigned to the delivery service and found myself in the middle of nowhere, among big storage buildings. I found a local worker and he gave me a different address. I went there and it was closed. That's when the idea that I was cursed started popping up in my mind. But it wasn't time to be sad. I noticed the phone number on the door of the delivery office, and it was different from those I found on Google. I gave it a shot and discovered that the shipping company I'd chosen for my delivery was under a different brand name in my country, so that's why it was so hard to find it. They found my package with the JR Pass, and everything was resolved. Curse or not, my habit of doing everything much earlier before the deadline helped me not only with this disaster, but with the next one too. A computer shutdown in the airport. My flight was from Krakow's airport, which, as I discovered later, doesn't have a great reputation. And maybe now I understand why. I arrived 2 hours before my flight, and there were lines everywhere, which was strange. Even more weird was that airport staff were talking on the phone and scribbling something for every passenger. This was a day when something happened to all computers in the airport, so they checked everything about passengers by phone. And they were issuing boarding passes in manual writing. It took so much time. Even with 2 hours in advance, I barely made it to the boarding. This is when I was pretty sure I had a curse over me, and I was hoping it would be over as soon as I landed in Japan. But it wasn't. It was just the beginning. Keep watching to uncover a streak of disasters that happened to me in Japan. My baggage was lost. For this trip, I packed a bunch of drippy clothes because I was so excited to walk in them in Tokyo, since it was my first trip after COVID. I was thinking how cool I would look wearing all my fashionable fits, only to discover at the baggage belt that my backpack didn't make it to Narita. This was my first experience with lost baggage, so I went to speak with the airport staff. There were 2 women and 1 man, and he took the lead in the conversation. We were speaking in English, but I noticed them conversing in Japanese. At one point, I commented on something they mentioned to each other, as it still related to my baggage situation. "Do you speak Japanese?" he asked. I hadn't been speaking Japanese properly for at least 5 years before this talk, so I responded something like, "Yeah, a bit." The guy switched to Japanese with a great opener. You came with Polish Airlines, right? They often have lost baggage issues. It was nice to discover I still was able to have a conversation in Japanese after a 14-hour flight, but I didn't share his enthusiasm about Polish Airlines. Anyway, I signed some papers and they promised to send my baggage to my hotel as soon as they found it. It took them 5 days to find my backpack, and the curse was only getting worse. I had to hack a Wi-Fi router. I used the word hack, but technically I didn't hack anything. So what happened? On the trip, I decided to test using pocket Wi-Fi. You pick up one in the airport and it comes with instructions on how to activate it. Well, my instructions didn't work. At first, I was sure I was doing something wrong, because I was activating Wi-Fi right after my flight, and all that baggage story made me really tired. But these steps were so simple. I couldn't possibly be messed so much. So, even though all settings in Wi-Fi software were in Japanese, I decided to give it a shot and figure out what if they failed to activate everything for me to use Wi-Fi. And they did! Basically, they forgot to turn it on. It was nowhere in the instructions, so luckily I was stubborn enough and figured it out. All this mess led to another disaster that happened to me. I missed the AnimeJapan convention. I purchased tickets for AnimeJapan for the day of my arrival, and if everything went okay, I could manage to get there for a couple of hours. But as you noticed, nothing went right. I ended up crying in Narita Express that I would have to miss Hypnosis Mic photo booth that make you ugly as hell near your favorite character. I thought it was the end of my curse. Like, see? I'm already crying! Could it possibly be worse? Turned out it could! 4 more disasters followed. I lost my rain jacket on a train. The weather in Tokyo was rainy, so I wore my rain jacket. After landing, I had to switch trains to get to my hotel. As soon as I stepped inside, I was hit by the heat. I took off my jacket to cool down and left it on the train. As if the airline losing my luggage wasn't enough, I managed to lose my rain jacket on a rainy day. But at least after that, I finally got a bit of a break. I had packed all the essentials: cash, cards, documents and my Hypmic plushes in a backpack that I kept with me as a carry-on. A friend in Tokyo also lent me some clothes, and thanks to the favorable yen, grabbing some extra underwear at Uniqlo was surprisingly affordable. So at least I was set with the basics, ready to face 3 more disasters before my string of bad luck finally ran out. I ended up buying a Hakone pass, even though I didn't actually need it. If you watched my travel tips video, you'd know I recommend buying local passes when you visit a city for a day. But I need to add that you still need to figure it out if it is worth it right on the spot. As it happened in my case, on this cursed trip, the pass cost me more than if I just used transport. Why? Mostly because I arrived too late in the city and had no time to explore the surroundings using the pass. And I had to leave early in the morning, so basically I just had 2 bus trips, which weren't expensive at all. I forgot to book a dinner in a ryokan. Here's a tip: if you're booking a traditional Japanese inn or ryokan, always double check whether dinner is included with your reservation. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the kaiseki dinner, which is practically half the reason for staying at a ryokan in the first place. Unfortunately, I missed that note and find myself in a ryokan in the middle of nowhere, with no convenience stores inside. My dinner? Vending machine snacks and a few soup-based drinks. Not quite what I had planned. Thankfully, the experience wasn't a total loss. The onsen was fantastic and breakfast was included, so I did get a taste of traditional Japanese food in the morning. I took the wrong shinkansen. If you use the JR pass, you can ride Shinkansen trains. But not all of them, and sometimes platforms or time of arrival are so close that it's easy to take the wrong one, which I did on my way from Tokyo to Osaka. Honestly, I was prepared to pay a fine for my mistake. I was sitting on a train for an hour and a half, stressing over the fact that if I had to pay for this ride, it would also make my GR pass useless. But for some reason, nobody reached out to me, so I managed to jump off at the nearest station in Nagoya and change to the train covered by the GR pass. The main question remains: was I cursed? I guess? Just so you know, the remaining part of my trip went smoothly, and my baggage was found and returned to my hotel in Osaka right after I visited Fushimi Inari Shrine. Maybe divine foxes ate the last bits of the curse and blessed me. Honestly, I have no idea. My trip to Japan and anywhere else usually are not messed up like that. However, this trip helped me to learn a lot, schedule time better, be more attentive to booking conditions, and discover that it's nice to have someone in the country who can support you during hard times. I hope these disasters were helpful and entertaining to you too. Thank you for watching my video. What do you think of my new mascot? I'm working to improve each video, so please subscribe, comment and smash that like button to support the channel. Watching my other videos also helps a lot. So here are 2 more for you to choose from. I'm already working on my next video, so see you in the next one!